also like, this will be interactive, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
That'd be
I'm
awesome.
gonna watch the chat.
Okay, perfect. So I'm Ahren Booher. I have been a licensed realtor since 2010. I got licensed right out of college. I attended the University of Ahren and have a degree in vocal performance. So my degree obviously has nothing to do with what I do now. And I think it did influence a lot of my career path, just with, not that selling real estate is performance, but you know, if you can stand up on a stage and sing in front of hundreds of people, I think you can handle a listing presentation. I have done a lot. I've always been with Keller Williams. I actually started with what is now Citywide. Actually, I take that back. I started in Columbus. I was there for all of 2 months and quickly learned that real estate is all about who you know, and all my sphere was back here. So I started in Dublin and then went to Citywide and was there for 7 years before transferring to Elevate. I have been individual agent. I have been a member of a team. I was individual again, and then I started the Art of Real Estate in 2017. And that's it, I think.
Michael Smith. I've been licensed since 2018. I have a little bit different career path than Ahren. I'm originally from like the Tuscarawas County, Stark County area. I went to college at Walsh University. I had my undergrad there in psychology. I also went back and got my MBA from there as well with a marketing focus. Right in college, and
Hang on just a second. I'm gonna move this a little bit closer because we're getting some question about sound.
Like right up
and then during college, I played college baseball, but actually quit to take on a part-time supervising job with UPS. Once I graduated with my undergrad, I went full-time supervising UPS. I was an on-road supervisor, so like the drivers you see every day. I had probably 40 of those under my supervision. So I did that for, I think, 3 years, hated it, hated corporate America, a whole bunch of reasons for that. And so I quit, and I actually worked with my mom for 2 years as pretty much like a extreme couponer. And we ran our own shop. We would do weekend sales. We increased business by like 4 times what she's ever imagined she could do. We started wholesaling pallets, bringing in merchandise from China, a whole bunch of other things, makeup. So, you know, buying and selling. And then I started my career with Remax Edge in Stark County. I had a friend who was an agent there, and he'd been trying to get me to become an agent for like 2 or 3 years. I never gave it a thought because I didn't know it was as lucrative as it is, and I knew nothing about it. And then one day I said, you know what, let's try it. I did all my classes online, got it done in a couple of weeks, got licensed, and started selling from there. And then met Ahren 7-8 months into my real estate career, and she persuaded me to move up north.
in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Okay.
So think back to some of the challenges that you guys may have overcome at all the different periods in your business, and kind of some of the lessons that you would learn from.
Sure. So as Michael said, my path has been so different than his. I actually wouldn't recommend my path, how I went about things. I do slightly blame that the market was awful when I got licensed. However, I knew nothing about real estate either. I didn't own a home. I couldn't have even told you where a hot water tank was located at the time, so I had a lot to learn. And I kind of just failed forward, whereas like he came in and was rookie of the year his first year and just crushed it right out of the gate. But he had a lot of discipline and things that I just did not have any experience with at all. So I would say my business has, like Christine Stoll always says, is perfect, that like just be a really good person and business kind of happens naturally. And I'm almost 99.99% sphere and past client referral, and that is a very slow path to take. Because clearly when you first get started, you don't have past clients. So my first year in real estate, I sold 1 home to an ex-boyfriend. It was a 203K renovation loan, and I was like, hey, real estate is not for me. So I would say it took me a good like 4 years before I was profitable, but I was bartending. I also worked with my mom. Like, don't worry, I wasn't homeless, but it was a painful beginning for me.
Yeah, I was definitely a little bit more fortunate. I joined, he was a solo agent, but we formed a team when I joined. He'd gotten licensed actually in 2010 when Ahren did. He wasn't from here, so he didn't have a good sphere or book of business. Honestly, to be honest, he's a huge Zillow agent. But that allowed me to run with what I could do. I mean, Zillow, if anyone knows anything about it, it's all about speed to lead and getting in the door and making a good first impression. I was fortunate that he didn't have a full team, so he taught me everything. Probably, I don't want to say too much, but I learned a lot. And I would say, selling houses for me wasn't the hardest thing. I sold like 50 my first year, but it was more so learning about the business as a whole and who I wanted to align myself with. Ahren will be the first one to tell you that like when we started dating, I was huge against coming to Keller Williams. Like I did not want to come here. I love Remax. I love my brokerage. But once I opened up my eyes and really sought it out from a business standpoint, not necessarily like a buying and selling houses, but from like a whole wealth standpoint, it was a no-brainer. It was the best decision that I ever made, as a whole, for sure.
Yeah. Trying to think of anything else to add to that. I mean, we've done a lot of, like, I've done a lot of things, I would say. I hate, wrong doesn't feel like the right word, but like I said, failed forward. I've never been an online lead person. And I would say, again, that was the slower way to build my business. And I just found a tactful way. Like I sing at church. That's how I still use my music degree. I'm involved in the CrossFit community. Like in the beginning, I just didn't really say no to being part of any organization, which has its pros and cons. But I just always, when people asked what I did, even though I was working full time with my mom, I was a realtor. Even if I was selling one home a year, I was a realtor. And I got really good at, social media has made our lives so much easier too. But in 2010, like, yes, social media and Facebook were a thing, but it certainly wasn't what it is now. But that was a big change. And I've shared this before. For me, like, I mean, if Erica was in the office with me over at Citywide when we started, like it wasn't the most positive atmosphere. You would ask realtors that have been in the business for a long time, like, oh, how are you doing? And it was pretty downtrodden because, I mean, like 60% of what was on the market was probably a foreclosure or a short sale, and people really struggled. And I just found that to be a little bit of a toxic environment. And I really did almost quit, like for sure. And then I just had this moment where I said, I get out of real estate, I want it to be because I chose to, not because it was too hard. And as soon as I made that mindset shift, I totally changed my career and I've outperformed every year since that moment as an agent since then. Mindset's huge.
Yeah, mindset's definitely huge. I know like definitely one big thing I've had, and I really had it this year, and Ahren, I talked about it. I'm an hour and a half away from my sphere. So like I have really seen, especially last year, a lot of listings that I probably think I would have had a chance at or would have gotten, I didn't get. And it's because people, don't think I sell down there. They'll see, if I post like a Westlake listing or, closed house, that how far north that is. And they just almost I don't even get the calls anymore down there. So I've had to rebuild my business again based off of Ahren and I's, again, our sphere now up here luckily is joined. But like, from my gym and from going out and just making friends and starting over. And then my college friends who live in the Cleveland area, I've had to really reach back out to all of them and let them know that I now live up here and again, start over. Because my sphere business, I was pretty fortunate. Even my first year, I still had 50% sphere business. And then my second year it went higher. And then this year you could tell very quickly it was going to dip. So I'm rebuilding, honestly, I'm more buyers than listings, it's just kind of starting over kind of thing for sure.
What have been your different experiences from a team perspective, being on a team, part of a team, starting a team to where you are now?
I'm going to be like very politically correct. And at the same time, like obviously in the Keller Williams world, it is probably part of our platform, the opportunity, of course, like family, faith first, and being able to have a quality of life is a reason why a lot of people build a team. And I think that sometimes people don't understand what building a team really means, and they certainly run before they walk and try to do it prematurely. So like your value proposition is everything, right? Like I've been a part of a team where at some point I just felt, why am I giving my team leader X amount of dollars? Because I felt like an individual agent. So that was why I left that team. Like value is just everything. And it's something with our real estate we're super cognizant of, making sure we're always creating value. And, I know Aaron's on the call, like it's cool to be part of, like community is why so many organizations thrive, because you want to be a part of something. Our team, like there are goals. We market everything as a team. It's not like the Ahren Booher team. There's a reason why we're the Art of Real Estate. Like all of our signs are branded with a Google number and then our team member's headshot and their personal phone number. It was very important to me to not put Ahren Booher anywhere on any of my team members' stuff. And I realized that's different for other teams, but yeah, I mean, I think that you can feel like an individual agent still being part of something bigger than yourself in the team model. That's my opinion.
I think for me personally, joining a team when I first got licensed was the best thing I ever did. It jumpstarted my career from a financial standpoint, from a referral standpoint, from a learning the business. And Ahren just told you it took 4 years to get traction, and I hit the ground running, and I would never been as successful as fast, I think, if I didn't join the team, if I didn't have someone take me under their wing. Again, the amount of money that he spent, the value proposition he had, and that's something we've really taken with our team. But also, I think from a team standpoint too, like Ahren was saying, it's culture, but it's also like more than just buying and selling houses. With our team, we really brought in like a whole wealth concept where we talk to our team about rentals and financial advisor, and like what could you do to get into maybe like a real estate trust, or a whole different aspect of, it's not just leads, it's not just, oh, you have a question on the contract, it's how can we truthfully build a better life as a whole. But I 100%, like anyone who ever asked me like, oh, I'm getting into real estate, what's your biggest thing, is vet teams, vet them like crazy as their value proposition. I think a lot of people just go with a friend. But also like just join a team in general. That's just my opinion. I always tell everyone wants to worry about splits. Would you rather sell 5-10 houses on your standard, Keller Williams split, or would you rather sell 30 houses, 25 houses on a team split? Even from a referral standpoint, you want to make 10 relationships or you want to make 30 relationships, because 10 relationships is going to lead, or 30 relationships is going to lead to more referrals than 10 would. It's just building up your book of business, even if it's only a 1 or 2 year program.
Yeah, and we say it all the time, like splits don't matter if the value's there. Our team really works backwards. Michael is our director of sales. So our team members come to us with an income goal, and we say, okay, if you want to make X amount of dollars, how many homes do you have to sell to hit that goal? We break it down quarterly, monthly, whatever it needs to be. They always say, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? Like the big goals can be scary, but if you break it down, it's really not that bad. And you just know where you are trajectory wise. Our team notoriously has a pretty slow first quarter, and that means we have to really bust our bums, the rest of the year, but we know that, and it's part of the seasonality of our business. But knowledge is power, knowing your numbers. We both have a MAPS coach, which has been a huge game changer for us. Just again, music degree. He's a smarty pants with his MBA. I knew nothing about owning a business. And I was just kind of like slinging houses and thinking like life was hunky-dory. I did not know how much money I was actually making. It was all GCI. I didn't know what I was actually netting. I mean, I was in a bubble for a while for sure.
Profit, man.
Sure does.
I do see you guys meeting here, and I think you have an office upstairs.
Mhm.
How important is meeting in person compared to Zooming and things like that for your community on your team?
So this is actually something our MAPS coach has talked about, because we recently hired Ahren as our director of operations, and we do have Allie Candre as our transaction coordinator, and she lives all the way down in Canton. So we also cover a humongous territory, like Ahren and Jeff are up in Bay Village and Westlake. So to land the plane on your question, it's like studies have come out. I think Gary Keller's even said it, like 33% of people work best working at home, 33% work better in the office, and 33% work in a hybrid model. So I think it is completely up to the individual and their discipline. You know, if we see numbers slipping or they're not hitting their goals, then it is a conversation that Michael would have of like, okay, do you think maybe you need a little bit more structure? Charles on our team has a full-time job as a police officer and 3 young kids and a lot going on. And I'm sure he'd be the first to share that like he probably does need to like step away. Working from home isn't the best fit for him. But I think it's more on the individual than it is the model as a whole.
Well, we've also had discussions too, though, from even like a culture standpoint, like you have to get together to keep culture, especially from a team standpoint. You have to, you know, not even just meetings, but just, you know, hey, lunch, or let's go do an activity. You know, like right now we're planning our end of the year team retreat. So like you do, like COVID really did kind of, you felt a little separation from people, and we would, you know, we tried the morning huddles and that stuff. And, you know, like those are great. I just don't think you build like the camaraderie and like the culture from that. I think it's more of like full interaction, more than 5 minutes at a time. You know, we do team meetings every other Tuesday. We do one-on-ones every Tuesday. So, and then every Monday we have a management meeting. So like we do have team meetings routinely, but we also have, we use Slack for communication. So when we go to Slack, you'll see a bunch of channels, and shout out to Ahren for implementing this, one of the first things she did. But then we have a bunch of channels, and like each one of them is tagged. So like we have a client appreciation event coming up. So we have a channel just for that. We have a channel just for fun. We have a channel for everything pretty much. That way it also helps people, like if they're busy, like it's just a fun conversation. You don't come out to 40 text messages. So like that's been also a great culture thing too, because it's allowed us to like separate where with what event it is or what the actual importance is. But we're a huge culture team, and that's one thing. Like we talk all the time of how we need to do a little bit more to try to bring culture in. You know, I mean, we bought Indians games tickets. We talk about buying season tickets to Indians all the time, just to be able to hand out to the team, et cetera, kind of stuff like that. Oh yeah, well, they just got sued, so I don't know. I might go back.
So the Ahren Chappelle shared that you are doing a great job constantly evaluating what is working and what is not, while constantly keeping culture at the center.
Oh, we paid her to say that.
Literally. We just been noted. So.
Yeah. I think it, again, like, I always joke about it, but in all seriousness, I mean, we were just at the Real Producers panel and someone said that, I don't even remember who said this, but like if someone calls you and you think like, oh, when you see their name on your phone, like that's not someone that you want to be in business with. Michael, again, is a huge office person. Like I was just teasing him because he's always gotten up with Michael and Antonio. Like this is his spot. I do work better from home. But that's just different than people.
Yeah, I need the separation for sure.
Even probably just from me.
So can we talk about financials for a minute?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you both come from different places, and obviously I know Ahren's story a little bit better, but like Ahren, even for you, you know, bartending and doing all these other things while you're not consistently making money in real estate, kind of to where you are now. What did that transition look like, and how did you teach yourself at whatever point to, you know, actually, just keep your money?
Sure, absolutely. Well, I'll probably jump around a little bit here, but in the last couple of years, we really realized like, cool, looks like we're doing pretty well. And then that like extra check to Uncle Sam, like when you have growth, like I thought I almost crashed my car when like my CPA called me the 1 year, like it was a gut check. So I never want to feel that way ever again. So I never realized not everyone has this resource, but falling in love with someone that has a business background certainly helped, because we read Profit First, which certainly is a little dry, but it talks about like bucketing your money and always paying yourself first. Most businesses, especially like the restaurant industry, you're paying all these people, and then when it comes time to pay yourself, there's no money left. Well, that doesn't last very long, and you very quickly go out of business. I think it's a huge flaw in our industry to always talk about GCI, because I don't give a hoot how much money you're grossing if nothing's hitting your bank account. I see, again, like the Zillow bills, like some of the stuff, and I'm like, holy guacamole, like your business is not profitable. That's not sustainable. So we definitely started bucketing our money. We have a tax account. We put extra money in there and plan for the growth. We have great relationships with a financial advisor that was referred by our MAPS coach, and we have quarterly calls with him. We have a CPA that, really kind of cracked the whip and was like, everything you're doing is wrong. So we hired a bookkeeper, which at first I was so apprehensive. I don't love spending money, and I can be frugal sometimes, and I would pay her 10 times over after watching what she's done for our business, because she's saving us money. Every receipt, everything, she categorizes it for us. That has been every year tax season, like I was just a hot mess, and now I don't have that mental burden anymore because we put the right people into place. But yeah, I mean, like going back to the original question, as long as I was making money and I had money sitting in just like a checking or savings account, like I just thought I was doing okay. I didn't track any numbers. Like almost everything happened on accident. I know it's not like the best thing to like admit out loud, but I'm glad that we now run like a business and not just chaos.
Yeah, I mean, I was fortunate when I graduated, like I had a full-time job waiting on me, with a really good salary, a really good bonus. I would say when I quit, that was the nerve-wracking part, because I had a truck payment, student loan, a house payment, and then going to work with my mom was a whole different learning experience. So even when I worked with my mom, like the failure just wasn't an option, like because literally I would have been bankrupt, homeless, whatever. I was fortunate that I had money saved up from UPS, but it's still like I hadn't been there long enough to accumulate that much. And just like any 23-year-old, when I saw a salary in front of me, again, I bought a truck, I bought a house, like I spent money. So when I got into real estate, I had an income goal my first year. That was it. That's what I didn't know how many houses I had to sell to hit it. I didn't know anything about it, but I knew I wanted to break a certain number, and nothing was going to stop me from it. And I hit it. And then just like Ahren said, the problem was I didn't know where any of it was going. I had a different CPA at the time who was terrible at explaining stuff. I was running my business like an S corp, but I wasn't paying myself the salary, so that's illegal. So like the best thing we did is Ahren and I, like she said, we read profit first. We sat down. We now run the business with an S corp properly. We pay ourselves our salary. When money comes in, we have a profit account, an investment account, a tax account, and operating expense account. And then again, real estate's been very good in the last year. We also have a 6 months reserve account that our financial advisor has put in a savings account for us. So it's still accumulating interest as well. But if the world shuts down tomorrow, we could have been like Michigan and not being essential. We got lucky we were, but we wanted to be safe. And so that was literally during COVID.
I mean, it took us like 6
Yeah, it
months.
takes
Like
forever.
it doesn't happen
Yeah,
overnight,
it's a pain. Like,
and you have to do it.
yeah, you'll cry. I mean, it's very nerve-wracking. It's a lot of meetings, but it's the best thing we've ever done. Now it's set up. Everything comes in. At the end of the year, we'll reevaluate depending on what our tax rate, or not tax rate, but our tax percentage is. We'll reevaluate how much we're putting in that tax account. But the best part of it is when we do our quarterly payments, we have the money. Like it's already sitting aside. We're not scrambling like, oh, I got to pull a little money from here, pull a little money from here. It's sitting, it's ready to go. We cut the check and we never see it. We never spend it. It works out great. And I think it also comes back to like Ahren said, GCI doesn't matter. I know numerous people that, they brag about their million GCI, but you hear what they profit and you're like, what? Where does it go? So we drive off profit. Like that's probably the biggest thing our MAPS coach has implemented in our brains.
And like, again, like I'm an open book. I'll always answer any questions. I'm willing to admit that when I started the art of real estate, one of the biggest, and certainly it was probably like ego driven, because when I was on a team, I was always like irritated to be paying my split. And again, it was because like the value wasn't there. So when I started the art of real estate, I created value, like the worst thing you could do, by giving really awesome splits. And then when it came time to supporting a team member's, you know, lead generation and wanting to reinvest in them, I was taking out of my profit from my personal sales to try to feed their business. Because Gary Keller says you should be reinvesting 30% of profit, like your profit from a team member, to give back to them in leads. Well, I had 80-20 splits on a lot of things. And like, so that was a 10% loss. And so again, like the split conversation I know is uncomfortable. It's always going to be uncomfortable. And if you're hitting your income goals and you understand how that money is being spent, again, they don't really matter.
Also leverage, hours worked that's a big thing too when it comes to a team. You know what I mean? If you don't have admin support and you're also paying a super high, you know what I mean? Like your split's very high, like then there's also, you know, that too, but it comes to leads, support, leverage. There's
Quality of life.
Yeah,
That's a
quality of
whole-
life. Like there's a whole big thing behind it for sure.
How did you guys, outside of maybe your MAPS coach now, what have you done to invest in your growth over the years?
So I'm pretty transparent about this on social media as well. Like I read a lot. And actually I think I've forced Michael to be a little bit more of a reader, and Audible, like we're in the car all the time. So don't listen to as many like Spotify soundtracks. It's more like learning. I'm also, I hate when people overuse this word, but I'm very blessed that I have a great referral network within this industry. It's so flattering that I get referrals for any area of life, whether it's a therapist, a gym, a this, or this, like from my real estate friends. You know, we were even joking, just even like with our wedding coming up, I feel like half of our people at the wedding are gonna be in the industry. So like just being very purposeful, you've heard it before, like your 5 people that you're surrounded with, like always leveling up your 5. I have group chats with so many like prominent agents in the area, and that's really contributed to, I think, like my mental growth. They push me to be better, and I want to contribute to them. But books, I mean, the information's like right there, so why not like take advantage and read and learn as much as you can.
Yeah, definitely books. Podcast. If you're not listening to the Ben Kenny podcast, it's probably one of the best podcasts you'll ever listen to. And it's not just buying and selling real estate, like it's life as a whole. And you can skip around, but he also does a ton of interviews with like other major business owners, people, that kind of thing. But I think the biggest thing, and Ahren said it perfectly, like to invest in ourselves was, I don't want to say like cutting out friends, but knowing that at some point you're probably going to leave like friends behind, because you know you're always trying to level up, you're trying to get bigger rooms, but also letting ourselves get into those bigger rooms. You know, like Ahren got invited to a metrics coaching mastermind. What was that?
The
year?
November before
Yeah, it was like,
COVID.
yeah, like November before COVID. So we went and did that in Arizona. We've been invited to another one, but like just anytime people invite you to certain masterminds or anything like that, like don't be scared to say yes, but also do a little bit of vetting too, because there are a lot of like ones you probably don't want to go to. But I think just getting around bigger people, I mean, truthfully, you know what I mean? Don't be scared to ask questions. I know, you know, when it comes to investing or, you know, how to get into certain things, so many people are so open to meeting with you. I know like one thing like we want to do is go to dinner with like Joy Larson and her husband. We don't do any rental properties, and obviously they crush it. So like we want to go pick their brain, and they wanted to go to dinner with us, and we're like, wait, you want to go to dinner with us? We want to go to dinner with you. Like people want to be friends with people, so just don't be scared to ask, and you'll be shocked at the answers you get.
I do think we've gotten really good at just like admitting, like we know our strengths and our weaknesses, even in a partnership. And it's like, not to sound cocky, like I'm good at selling real estate and connecting with people. I'm not gonna say I'm not good at anything else, but like I certainly lack in some other areas, and you know, he knows his strengths. So when I have a question now, even on our MAPS calls, I'm like, okay, I don't want to reinvent the wheel. Who should I just talk to? Who do I need to go to? Like, I don't have time to go figure it out. I know I won't do it. I always reference the book Rocket Fuel. Are you a visionary or an implementer? I can dream all day long, but my execution is not great. So just tell me someone that's already done it, and I'm going to go gracefully rip off and duplicate in a legal manner.
Anyone else have questions? No, go ahead.
Or from like people on.
So far just comments. So I guess my next question for you guys is for Michael. You guys were just talking about kind of the abundance mentality that we have at KW.
Mhm.
But did you find that also at Remax, or was that kind of a mindset shift for you? Because I know a lot of people, when they come from other brokerages, they can come kind of guarded.
Yeah, it was definitely a mindset shift for me. Like, again, I was still new as an agent when I was at Remax. But it still was definitely like, even from team to team to other agents, everything was guarded. Like it was like trade secrets on everything. I didn't care if it was how to lead generate, how to do anything. There just wasn't always that big open.
Come from country.
Yeah, come from like, how can I help you, knowing your karma's there, or probably come pay back. And I think that was probably the biggest thing that like opened my eyes when I finally did come to KW. Like, cause even when I first came, like I still was guarded, like you said, I still was reserved. Like I didn't want to do anything. Like you know what I mean? Like I missed my old brokerage. But like once again, you got into bigger rooms and you talk to bigger people, and you ask questions, and people were so happy to help. Like it really just showed me that like people do care about your success, and don't be scared to ask questions, because it's not like that everywhere. 100%. I mean, I love my own brokerage, but it's, like somewhat of a train wreck too. And looking at it now, like I have friends that are still there, and I'm always like, just give me 5 minutes. Like I don't even care about the downline. I don't care about any of that. Like I care about your business personally. You know what I mean? And it's shocking that once you do start to talk to those people and you put little tidbits in their ear, they do start to like, you can see the wheels turning in that, because they're not getting that there for sure. 100%.
Because I think like people don't realize, I'm not gonna like be the ultimate brown nose here, but how like fortunate we are to have Jose Medina as a resource to us. I mean, he really, I don't know if he's on the call or not, but I mean, he is a genius, and he always helps us. I mean, I know Michael has a nice relationship with him, so having that resource has been a game changer for us as well.
It's funny because I only met him once when I was in Canton. I didn't know who he was really. I mean, obviously you know who Jose is, but like I never got to have a personal relationship with him or anything, because he was like the enemy. But like now looking at it, it's awesome, you know what I mean? Because he is like, from a wealth of knowledge standpoint, like that man, just ask him for 5 minutes and you'd be shocked. And we have a ton of teams that are that way though, like a ton of people that you'd be shocked at what people are good at. Find someone's niche and go ask them questions about it. Don't be scared.
So unless anyone has any other questions, I'll start to wrap up. If you guys could leave us with one book or one resource or some item of importance to you, what would you recommend?
So I would say our biggest challenge right now, and it's everything we're trying to really dive into, is obviously growing the team and talent. Talent is like the key to everything, you'll start to realize at some point. So like we have it on our agendas to reach out to several teams that have great retention rates in the area, people that aren't in the area. Like there's a guy that our maps coach coaches that he's only been an agent since
Like 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years, and his team's already 140 million team.
And he's never lost an agent.
Yeah, he's got like 100% retention rate and stuff. So like we're reaching out to him just to pick his brain. But the book I'm reading right now that has been really good is called The Talent War. It's just all about hiring talent, and it compares it to like how the military looks for like Green Berets and stuff, beyond just like the actual physical activity. And it's a really good book so far, actually.
I think I always joke, like I tend to be a little more like fluffy and mindset focused, and he's more like the meat and potatoes of business. every area of life, like you need to find your resource, and just how we have our CPA and our financial advisor. Everyone knows I have a big mental health kick. I think that's really important. I feel I would be a hypocrite if I paid $1,500 a month for a MAPS coach to invest in my business and didn't invest that same amount in myself personally. So I'm always very transparent that I do have a therapist I see bi-weekly. I have a coach that I pay for physical fitness. Like we have a lawyer that drafts your will. Like, find the person that is the expert in every area of your life. And then you don't have to spend so much time spinning your wheels trying to figure it out. Just like dedicate your person and go to them.
Leverage. Leverage is key for sure.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank
No
you.
problem. Thanks for having us.
We
And
appreciate it.
if anyone on the call has any questions or anything else, by all means, don't ever hesitate to reach out to us. More than happy to meet, talk, whatever anybody needs.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys. Good job.
Thank you.
You know who's on the call.